get an amen out of that one. We are heading toward a holiday, right? And this one is called Thanksgiving. Everybody likes Thanksgiving, except for those who have to cook everything.
Not if you love to cook.
Not if you love to cook. Well, I love to eat, so I really like Thanksgiving. Now, its purpose is to come together and to be thankful, right? Oh, I forgot. If you want to, I forgot to announce this. Jennifer is cooking a Thanksgiving dinner in the fellowship hall on Thanksgiving, inviting all those who are not going anywhere, who want a place to go have Thanksgiving. She's fixing Thanksgiving dinner with all the trimmings in the fellowship hall on Thanksgiving Day. Get with her, let her know so she can get a head count. Encourage you if you already have plans to join. Okay. Now Thanksgiving, like I said, is a great time to give thanks, to look back and reflect on what has God done for me. Is it just what He's done for me? Maybe it's what He's allowed me to do for other people. But regardless of which it is, it's a time to give thanks. But not everybody is okay with giving thanks. Some people had rather not give thanks. I'm going to read now from a passage in the Old Testament. It's in the book called Numbers, chapter 11, verses 1 through 10. And it's a story, part of the Exodus story. And it's Moses taking the people through the wilderness, right? And they just got through witnessing all the plagues that hit Egypt. And they saw all the miracles. And they saw the firstborn in Egypt die when the death angel came around. But they were spared because they put blood of the lamb over the doorpost. These are the people that saw that happen. These are the people that saw the Egyptians let them loose, trapped on the dead by the Red Sea. And then they saw God open the Red Sea and they passed through. These people are the same people. We don't know how many it is. It could be 2 million. It could have been 6 million people who discussed that subject. I don't know. But they're out there in the wilderness. They've left Egypt, the land of plenty, right? And they are hungry. So God gives them manna. Manna, that means what is it, right? It comes down from heaven. Well, they get this manna. But they're complaining. And I'm going to read now. From Numbers 11, 1 through, well, I'm going to read the first 3 verses. Now the people complained about their hardships in the hearing of the Lord. And when He heard them, His anger was aroused. Then fire from the Lord burned among them and consumed some of the outskirts of the camp. When the people cried out to Moses, he prayed to the Lord, and the fire died down, so that the place was called Taberah, because fire from the Lord had burned among them. Okay, you read this and you think He's burning them up, but what it sounds like to me is He's sending fire. He's sending a warning shot over the bow, and He's setting the outside of the camp on fire, right? And it's like, listen up, people. Think about what I've already done for you. Quit complaining. There was a story, or there is a story, and it's about a widow who made a living selling bagels on a street corner in New York. She sold them for $2 a piece. There was a businessman who walked by every day, and he saw what she was doing, so he stopped by, and he said, I need 10 bagels, and he gave her a $20 bill, and she handed him the bagels, and he handed them right back. He said, sorry, you go ahead and keep them. And he walked off. Well, he did this for 30 days. He would go by, give her $20, and he'd hand back the bagels. So, after about 30 days, he goes by and he does the same thing. She hands him the bagels, and he hands them back, and he walks off, and she said, wait a minute, come back here. And he said, I know what you're thinking, ma'am. You're thinking, why in the world would I give you $600 for these 30 days and never take not even one bagel? And her response was, I couldn't give a hoot if you took a bagel or not. I'm just going to let you know the price went up to $3 a bagel and gave me $10. Now that's not being very grateful, is it? None of us are as thankful as we should be. We love to complain, and our attention is usually on the negative. And it's so easy to just think the positive, but why would we dwell on the negative? What causes us to become ungrateful? We should learn to cultivate a life of thanksgiving by rooting out ingratitude. Now, this next reading is Paul to the church in Philippi. Now, Paul, who has come from a place of prominence, Paul the apostle, Saul, right? The Pharisee. Paul had authority, he had power, he had money. He left everything for Jesus Christ and went on the missionary road. He was beaten, stoned. All of that was taken away. And he writes this letter to a church in Philippi. And let's look here what it says. Okay. Therefore, my dear friends, as you have always obeyed, not only in my presence, but now much more in my absence, continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. For it is God who works in you and will and to act in order to fulfill his purpose, his good purpose. Do everything without grumbling or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without fault in a warped and crooked generation. Then you will shine among them like stars in the sky, as you hold firmly to the word of life. And then I will be able to boast on that day of Christ that I did not run or labor in vain. But even if I am being poured out like a drink offering on the sacrifice and service coming from your faith, I am glad and rejoice with all of you, so that you too should be glad and rejoice with me. He's saying, quit the grumbling. Do all things without grumbling or disputing, that you may be blameless, innocent, children of God without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. Boy, would you shine as a light in the world if you didn't complain about anything. If you didn't complain, you would stand out, because the whole world seems to be complaining. All you have to do is turn on the TV and watch any of the news, the major news networks. You can go to CNN and hear them complaining about one thing, then go to Fox and hear them complain about the other thing. I offer you this. Thanksgiving is hard sometimes. It's hard to give thanks in a world that seems to be so bent on being unthankful. I'm going to give you 7 ways so that you can become a good complainer. How odd, Pastor? What are you talking about? If you want to be a good complainer, if you're going to complain anyway, you might as well be good. So here's 7 tips for you. All right? Keep a journal. Keep a journal. Write down everything that's ever been wrong with you in your life. Every ailment, every hurt, every time somebody has treated you meanly. Write it down. Write their name down. And if you write these annoyances down, you can keep track of them so that you can bring them up whenever you want. Try to write down at least 4 things that irritate you daily, regardless of how insignificant the issues are. And you got that? And that will make you a good complainer. Number 2, set aside daily time to ponder on what other people do to bug you. You know, they just bug you. They may not offend you, but they just bug you. Write it down. I don't like the way that person walks, talks, or looks. Whenever you find yourself accidentally happy, take your journal out and review it. It'll help you. It'll help you become frustrated again. Maybe even write the frustrations on a note card and post them on your house everywhere you go so you can see them. Here's number 4. Use negative words whenever you can. Adjectives are everything, right? Negative words. That'll make you a good complainer. You guys see where I'm heading with this. I'm going to fix this in a moment. The lives of grateful people aren't that different from yours, right? But they're not realists like us. You heard the pessimist and the optimist, right? Well, maybe they're not. Maybe a pessimist is just a realist. And an optimist is just full of dreams. They're a dreamer. They simply need to practice reciting their frustrations more. Language matters. Have you ever heard that? Language matters. So be mindful of the adjectives that you use. The more strongly you label things, the better you're going to be able to cultivate a grumbling spirit. You can use adjectives in your conversation like horrible, horrible, or that sucks. That's atrocious, irritating, stupid. Number 5. Be constantly distracted. Don't focus on one thing. Make sure you can do 1,000 things at the same time, and that way you never get any of it done, and that helps your frustration level, doesn't it? I can stay frustrated if I don't accomplish anything, and I keep looking at all the above. And if I get stressed, I let all the stressors pull me in different directions. Pull me around, and I'll go this way, then I'll go that way. Other people may not just worry enough like you do. Maybe they don't think about the awful things that could happen in the future, and they're certainly not looking at the bad things that happened in the past. If you want to be an A-plus complainer, you must be able to do both. Always, always, always multitask in that you don't focus. Don't waste your time by simply enjoying things. Enjoying life. Don't enjoy a meal. Don't enjoy a sunrise or a sunset. The sunrise means it's going to get hot today. The sunset means, oh gosh, I can't see, it's going to get dark. Entertaining yourself constantly by checking your phone. I know we don't do that. I check your phone, I said, anybody text me, hey, I'm going to Facebook and find some very positive stuff today. That won't happen, right? Don't waste your time by simply enjoying life. That's number 5. Number 6, focus on you when you pray. You know what I'm saying? Lord, help me. Lord, I need this. Lord, I want this. Rather than focusing on others. When you focus on you, that's what you think about. Use your prayer time to get what you want when you want it. Praising God for who He is kind of, just kind of put that on the back burner. That's not going to help you, right? He already knows who He is. He doesn't need you blabbering about it. Instead, remind Him of everything you want and don't have. Okay. Here's another one. That's number 6. Here's number 7. Do nothing to help your health. Okay? If I do nothing to help my health, then I'll have people that will worry about me. Right? If I don't get out and walk, ride my bike, or do something to help my health, then I may not feel better, but at least I don't have to expend energy and I'll get other people to sympathize with me. Besides, healthy people are usually too grateful, kind of mushy, always thinking, too positive. And then the positivity tends to lead to healthy decisions. I kind of like unhealthy decisions. Anxiety is like steroids for complainers. Anxiety helps us continue down our path. Exercise is poison. You get endorphins when you exercise, that makes you feel good. Those positive chemicals in your body prevent you from recognizing the awful realities of the world. Can't afford to let anything stand in your way of that. Don't you want to be a good complainer? Okay, that's tongue in cheek, and I'm through. I'm not going to go any more than that, so you're probably wondering, where's he going to end this? Well, I'm ending it now. Here's the... Of course, we don't need to become serious complainers. We need to be thankful. All those things I just said, you look at the antithesis, you flip them on their heads and do the opposite. Do the opposite of that. It'll make you a thankful person. Change your life. It'll change your life. Keep a journal. Write down all the good things that God has blessed you with, all the people He's put in your lives. Life is good. We hit trials and tribulations, sure, but He's with us. He's not waiting at the other side of the storm. He's walking through it with us. Amen. Sometimes He looks a lot like you and you and you when He walks with other people. Set aside a time to ponder, to think about other people and find something good they do. Find at least one thing good. Now, in a past career, when I worked in the industry, I'd tell the managers that happened to report to me at the time, we'd have a meeting at least once a week. We start our week off, and one of their marching orders was, you find, each of your employees, find something they're doing well and let them know about it. Okay? Let's see what happens. Find them doing something that you think is good and let them know about it. It makes changes. If I keep getting attention for stuff I do bad, now we're in the process of raising a 3-year-old, little Riley, so if we just make a big deal about when she does bad stuff, she's going to continue to do the bad stuff because that's when she gets the attention. But if we make a big deal when she does something good, well, that's what I hear anyway. You go outside and bang your head on the wall if you want to release a little stress. But it's the same way with adults. When we hear recognition, positive recognition for something that we're doing good, we want to continue doing it good. Find something. Keep a journal. I encourage you to do that. If you find yourself sad, take your journal out and read it. Find the good things that you put in, the people that God has put in your life that you love. Maybe the people that God has put in your life that challenge you. Use positive words, not negative. Adjectives. Wonderful. Great. The lives of a grateful people change lives. Be focused. When stress hits, start working and focusing all the things that stress you. Deal with one thing at a time. Prioritize them, right? Did I say that right? Sometimes you got to see and a lot of times it's health. Take care of your health. That was one of the other issues. Take care of your health. Make that a priority. When you take care of that first, then you start dealing with all the other stressors. And you focus on them. You start cutting them loose from your life. Soon life becomes simple. Your baggage becomes light. When you pray for others. Pray for others. And don't just focus on you. Pray for others. Pray for family members. Pray for that person that may irritate you. When you pray for it, and even if you tell them you're praying for them, see what that does. That might light a candle. I'm praying for you. Boy, do you need it. Don't say that. I encourage you. Paul continues his letter with this practical advice. Do all things without complaining or arguing. There's something wrong about a Christian who always seems to have a pessimistic outlook on life, or contentious or restless demeanor. Paul doesn't want the Philippian Christians to be whiners and complainers. He wants them to be joyful, but by refraining from grumbling, complaining, and dissension. The Philippians would prove themselves to be blameless or without rebuke, and innocent or harmless, in contrast with their surrounding pagan society. Paul was not exaggerating, by the way. when we read that passage, and he described the Philippians. Charlotte and I got to go to the ruins in Philippi a few years ago. That was a big city. And for that day, it was a big city. It was filled with temples, though. Not to God, but filled with pagan temples. He wasn't exaggerating when he described the Philippian society as crooked and depraved. When we often lament at the falling moral standards of Western society. But we have a way to go before you meet the society that was there in Philippi. The morality of the Roman Empire is terrible, including the first century of Philippi. We are instead to be shining stars in the midst of all the muck. Now, what would draw you to a fellowship? I'm just talking about a Sunday morning. What would draw you to a fellowship? To a fellowship that people are smiling at you, welcoming you, saying, I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Be part. We love your being here. Or would you like to come in where the faces are all sullen? And yeah, that's my pew you're sitting in, by the way. I am so glad we don't do that. Even with looks, right? We don't have to talk more about it. Philippian church were shining like stars. For most 21st century people, stars were merely beautiful objects in the night sky. But for the people of the first century, stars were not only beautiful, they were also seen as divinely created, harmoniously in harmonious order. One of the primary meanings of the cosmos is orderliness, being in order. Paul wanted the church community to be a shining example of a beautiful, ordered, harmonious society. The reality of being thankful is practicing it. Be thankful. Practice it. It's making a conscious effort to be grateful. It could include keeping a journal, places and people you're thankful for in your life. It could be telling someone you love them and you're thankful for what they are doing for you in your life. And it could be speaking words of thanksgiving. There's a book I just finished. It's called Embers, and it's more of a reflection. And it's not a theological book. Every now and then I'll take a break from that. Embers. The author relates to that living a life of gratitude, even when things are hard, is as simple as saying positive things about yourself and about others. It's like standing on the edge of a canyon, you know, where you have an echo. And you stand on the edge of the canyon. If you say negative things, these negative things echo back to you and penetrate your soul. So why bother doing that? Shout out positive things. I love you, Lord. And you hear, I love you back. God is good, and it comes back. God is good. You shout out, I love you, and things change. You hear it back. When we say these positive things, I think it reflects on our life.